Game 5, the Avs were feeling the blues here. Tyler Bozak buried the game-winning goal less than 4 minutes into overtime. Look at that third period by St. Louis. 3 goals. I mean, they trail 3-2 now in the second round series. They've rallied twice to stun Colorado. They were just 56 seconds away from their first Western Conference Finals appearance in 2 decades. I was in high school the last time they were there, and I'm an old fart. DraftKings contributor Geoff Ulrich, he's there too. NHL.com's Anna Dua, RotoWire's Paul Bruno. Everyone is here. The 3 Bromigos and Bromigats. I'm happy you guys are here. Paul, what a wasted opportunity here by the Avs, as we just showed you as well. Bottom of the screen, Nathan MacKinnon, a beautiful hat trick. That third goal was absolutely stunning, but the opportunity, like, what the hell happened?
I don't know. Halfway through, I was thinking, okay, the calls that I made on your show were pretty spot on. You know, Colorado jumping out to that 3-0 lead and St. Louis looking all but dead in the water. Then they got that goal by Tarasenko, and that lit a bit of a fuse. And we saw how it turned out. And an ex-Leaf got the dagger last night. So happy for Tyler Bozak. I really like that guy.
Okay, Anna, how do you like the Blues' chances here to win at home and force a Game 7? You could still get them plus 550 for the series, by the way.
You can, and they still have an uphill battle to climb, but I said last time to not count them out. They have a way of rallying back when it really matters, and they did that in that first round. The Blues had one of the most dominant wins in the first round against a team that was one of the best, if not the best team down the stretch towards the end of the regular season in the Minnesota Wild. So you never know when the Blues players are going to show up, and it's going to be difficult, but I wouldn't count them out just yet.
And Jeff, I know when we were talking last night on the slate, and like Jules was with us, and he really was leaning on you and was like, hey, should I just bet the Avs money line? Like, you actually had some hesitation there, because I feel like you had some faith in the Blues.
I told them, yeah, I mean, this wasn't a walkover. The Blues are a good team, like Anna said. I mean, this is, you write off the Blues, and it's at your own peril. I mean, this team down the stretch, like Tarasenko absolutely was kind of unstoppable for a bit. So, no, I mean, I didn't really like that going on. I didn't really like touching the money line at all last night on either of those teams. Admittedly, I didn't get on St. Louis either, so don't give me too much credit. But this is going to be a really interesting Game 6. I mean, now Colorado has to go home. You have to figure. I mean, this team is going to be absolutely a little bit embarrassed, and pride is probably going to show up for them in Game 6. But man, like, again, it's the same story. You can't just write off St. Louis. Now they're at home with the dreaded M word behind them, and oh man, I mean, like, it's just not a team that I necessarily want to bet against. So you'll probably see Colorado as a fairly heavy favorite, even going into Game 6 on the road. But I would not be shocked if we see us back in Colorado for Game 7 at all in this one.
Yeah, so all ready for Game 6 tomorrow. It is plus 150 St. Louis Blues on the money line. Yeah, minus 170 there for the Avs. Okay, so let's go to tonight, guys. Let's go to tonight. 2 games on the menu. Couple Game 5, so it's the Hurricanes and the Rangers. Hurricanes are at home, so we know that they're going to win this game. That one's tied at 2. Edmonton can advance to the next round with a victory over Calgary. Who's the best center in DFS lineups here, Anna?
So it's a must-win game for the Flames right now. I don't think they're going to go out without a fight. So I'm taking a look at their first line, and I'm looking at Elias Lindholm. He had a goal in that Game 4. He has points in 3 out of the 4 games this series. 2 goals, 2 assists across the span. He's leading the Flames in goals this postseason with 5. Playing on that dynamic top line with Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk. All 3 of those guys need to show up if Calgary wants to live another day.
Okay, what do you think here, Jeff?
Oh, man. I mean, first of all, we don't play the Flames in my house, but Edmonton going into Calgary with a chance to close it out in Calgary. You start your lineup with Connor McDavid. He's absolutely owned the Flames during his career. He's got like 4 hat tricks against them. Don't be shocked if something similar happens again tonight. I think the Oilers are absolutely relishing this right now. And I think the Flames, ever since they blew Game 2, they have been in their own heads about the fact that, it's just one guy beating us. Well, that guy's going to show up tonight, in my opinion. I think you can start with a McDavid-Zibanejad lineup as well. Really like the way he's played the last couple games. It'll be a little bit contrarian to it. It won't leave you much salary, but I think a lot of people will be looking to try and get value with like Aho or Lindholm. If you start with McDavid and Mika Zibanejad, then I think it'll give you a bit of a contrarian lineup too.
Paul, how much money do you need to spend here at center tonight?
You know what? I don't want to upset Geoff, but he's smiling like the butcher's dog anyway. So I'm going to go with Calgary tonight, though, to hold serve on home ice. I'm right there with Anna's thinking here that the top line has to respond. And it's been a theme in these playoffs for a lot of different teams. The top players, when the chips are down, they've answered the bell. So I look for Elias Lindholm to do his thing tonight, and the Flames will extend this series. Not saying now that they're going to win it, but they're going to hold home serve tonight. And I also like the Rangers to steal control of the series. I know you think that Carolina's unbeatable at home. They have been, but they're due for a slip up, and I think it's going to be on the strength of some strong goaltending. They have that edge there, and I think it's going to show its head tonight. And I look for the second line of the Rangers actually to be the difference makers. Solid play from the wings, but Ryan Strome is the guy I'm watching at center, costing only $4,000. I think he's in a real good spot to do some damage this evening.
Well, Geoff, let's look at the wings and things department here. Which guy stands out as the best wing option?
I mean, I'll take the 4,900 on Zach Hyman here and double down on the Oilers getting this done tonight. You look at the way he's played in this series. He has absolutely dominated the Flames defensemen down low, and you love to see it. But even just from a DFS perspective, 4,900. I mean, he's just way too cheap at this point for a guy who's producing at a high level. Obviously, he's going to be out there with a couple of the best players in the world, in Draisaitl and McDavid too, if he gets the power play opportunity. But I just think from the way this series has gone, I don't really see any reason why Zach Hyman can't bring it again tonight. And I think the other thing is, like, Evander Kane, obviously listed questionable here because of the birth of his child. I think there's a very good chance Evander Kane does make it back for this game. I'm just, obviously trying to read the tea leaves here, but it's something you could probably take advantage of for DFS. Obviously, you're going to have to wait until you get the confirmation, like right up until ice time. But a lot of people probably just lay off him. He's going to be high, coming back from the birth of his child, obviously. And just like Zach Hyman, he has dominated the Flames defense in this series.
I mean, you know more than anyone, like, dad strength is a real thing, isn't it?
At least for the first week until, reality kicks in, yes.
Until you just become a miserable human being.
You just become tired. You just become tired all the time.
Paul, how about it, man? Who's your guy on the wing?
Look, I love Zach Hyman. For his time in Toronto here, he became a fan favorite. And look at what he's done in these playoffs. He's actually produced more goals in this playoff run than he did in 5 previous ones with the Maple Leafs. And he did well there too. So kudos to him. But I still think I got to be on Calgary in this matchup, looking for Gaudreau and Tkachuk to respond when their chips are down for these guys. I don't think they're even very highly priced at $7,100 and $6,500 respectively. I just look for the Calgary big line to put up or shut up tonight, and I'm leaning toward the put up card. And then I mentioned Strome at center because I really like the wingers that he's got going with him. And probably the most talented player on the ice tonight, Artemi Panarin and Andrew Kopp, who's had an outstanding run since he arrived on the scene here. You get those guys for $5,800 and $4,400 respectively. I'm doing the Rangers stack on the second line tonight.
Anna, what's your strategy here at wing?
It's tough to argue against Zach Hyman, so I'm hopping aboard the Hyman train. It's tough to think of a player who's been more consistent in this second round than Zach Hyman. He has a goal in every single game he's played against the Flames, and his numbers this postseason put him with elite company. He's tied with Draisaitl for the second most goals on the Oilers with 7 this postseason, and Draisaitl also listed as a wing. Pricier at $7,700. He could be another good option, but Hyman has to be the best value there is tonight.
All right. Well, we all know, guys, that there's been a lot of discussion here around the goalies this postseason. We have a pretty good idea who's going to be in the crease tonight. So which netminder are you most comfortable rostering, Paul?
Shesterkin is overdue for a strong road effort, and as long as Carolina is still leaning on their second-string goalie, you got to give the edge, no matter where they're playing these games, to the New Yorkers. So I'm going to go with that. And then in the other game, I still can't favor a 40-year-old guy who's been inconsistent all year long despite his fine playoff run. I still expect Jacob Markstrom to outplay Mike Smith, so that's going to be a big part of tonight's outcome there too.
Anna, talk to me here about netminders.
I gotta go with Shesterkin as well as my favorite in the crease for tonight's slate. And when you take a look at it, the first 2 games they played in Carolina, did Carolina win? Sure, but Shesterkin only allowed 3 goals over the course of those 2 games. The most goal differential there ever was that 2-0 in game 2, whereas in game 4, the Rangers won 4-1, the biggest goal differential there has been. Shesterkin has over a .950 save percentage in this series. He's gotten back into form. He was phenomenal throughout the regular season, as we all know. Had a bit of a slip up during some parts of that first round against the Penguins, but he's looking as good as ever. And one of Carolina's streaks has to come to an end. Either it's that they can't win on the road or they always win at home. And I'm taking the latter to come to an end tonight.
All right, Geoff, is there an obvious choice there in the net?
Well, look, I mean, yeah, it's Igor Shesterkin. Like, why would you not want to play Igor Shesterkin at this point? I'm still not sure why people are even hesitant about this. It feels like the couple bad games in the first round just really got in people's heads here. But, I mean, the player's had a .95 save percentage or better over his last 3 games. Like these guys alluded to, he's really kind of just due for like a really solid effort on the road. And I think Carolina is, much like Calgary, just a little bit in their own heads right now with this road thing. And now they can't beat the Rangers goalie. The Rangers have a huge edge in net. And I mean, again, we're obviously talking about betting, but I think long-term, you've got to like the Rangers' chances here. Of course, you like Shesterkin tonight. I don't mind the other underdog goalie, though. Mike Smith, obviously this game could be like 6-5, and there's a bigger chance that Smith lets in like 5 goals. But I also think Calgary, the one thing I agree with these guys about Calgary, they're probably going to fire like 35, 40 shots tonight. And that's really good for DFS purposes. So Mike Smith, a lot higher variance. But if I'm picking a goalie from that Calgary-Edmonton game, I'll roll with him too.